Hype. Pre-orders like you wouldn't believe. Keanu Reeves. That's right. Today we are talking about the one and the only Cyberpunk 2077. Dropping another massive 36GB patch, CD Projekt Red is promising a litany of new bug fixes, refined gameplay mechanics, and for the first time since the game's, let's call it tumultuous release back in December 2020, we now have the first of several promised additions to the base game's content in the form of free DLCs. But for the fans, is it enough? Today, we're going to take another look at one of the most divisive games of the modern era. That's right, we're talking Cyberpunk 2077 and its most recent update, patch 1.3. Let's all take a step back. Close your eyes and imagine a simpler time. A time long ago, way back in the glory days of the year 2019. There was a lot to be excited about at what would be the last normal E3 before COVID turned the world on its head. We had Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Jedi Fallen Order, and of course, Cyberpunk 2077. The hype train had been running strong for this game, but after E3 2019 and the now famous Keanu reveal, the train had officially run off the rails. There was nothing CD Projekt could do at this point to rein in fan expectations for this game. That being said, CD Projekt didn't really seem interested in reining in those expectations either. 1 year later, we started getting the now universally panned Night City Wire updates, painting the picture of a game that had been carefully crafted, meticulously worked on, and thoroughly fleshed out and complete prior to its release. What we got after several delays was far from the case. Blame it on COVID, blame it on the investors, which is, along with CD Projekt's executive leadership, where I personally place the blame, or blame it on a fanatical fan base that was holding CDPR's feet to the fire for a 2020 release. There is no doubt that Cyberpunk 2077 released in a far from completed state. I'm not even going to discuss the performance issues on last generation consoles in this video. I think, frankly, the game never should have been released for that hardware. While the game may have started development early in the last gen, it quickly became a project that warranted a next-generation release if it was truly coming out, quote-unquote, when it's ready, as CD Projekt initially claimed. So, all that being said, where does that leave us today? After 8 months and 12 patches, is Cyberpunk 2077 finally the game that we were promised? Well, yes, but also no. There's no doubt the game is in a better place today than it was when it was released, but for many fans, this simply doesn't cut it. The fixes have been largely incremental, with most of the corrections being intangible to a large portion of the player base. So that includes minor bug fixes and slight tweaks to existing gameplay mechanics. Patch 1.3 does give us the most of any update so far, including the long-awaited minimap fix, although critics would be quick to correctly point out that this had been fixed by modders months ago. This begs the question, is a No Man's Sky style comeback even technically possible with this game? Can the game truly be what its most vocal critics want it to be, and what they thought it would be back in 2019? The answer to this question, I believe, and unfortunately so, is a firm no. We now know that Cyberpunk 2077 was a rushed and disorganized mess throughout its development cycle. Essentially, we have a house that's built on pillars of sand. Engine level updates to the game, such as fixing the NPC AI, wall running or parkour mechanics, and police chase mechanics, simply cannot be implemented without functionally breaking more things than they add to the game. So for the foreseeable future, all updates to the game will be minor quality of life enhancements like what we've seen so far. Patch 1.3 also gives us the first taste of some new content for the game, the first since its release. And this comes in the form of a jacket, a car, and a My Chemical Romance update for Johnny Silverhand's look. To say the least, fans are underwhelmed by this. As a fan base, I think we were collectively looking for something to really get excited about in terms of new content. The most devoted Cyberpunk, and that's Cyberpunk with a capital C, fans have dumped hundreds of hours into the base game, and we're really hungry for some new quest content, or maybe even that thermal katana that is somehow still absent from the game. That said, it is clear that CD Projekt isn't done adding new content to the game. While I think it was bad optics and a terrible executive decision to release such an underwhelming update as the first taste of what's to come for free DLC, I do have faith that upcoming updates will be more substantial, as it appears last month's DLC leak is panning out as planned. If the community consensus proves to be correct on these, we can expect to see apartment customization, new gigs, weapon packs, and a new Game Plus mode. Note that none of this has been confirmed by CD Projekt, but given the accuracy of the predictions for the free DLC so far, we can probably safely assume these guesses won't be too far off. So, in conclusion, Cyberpunk 2077 may never be the game that fans dreamt of back when we were being fed a steady stream of hype back in 2019 and for most of 2020. That said, if you can, just for a moment, remove yourself from the Twitter and Reddit outrage, forget about all the Night City Wire updates and the overblown Keanu E3 hype, and just take in Night City, you'll find that Cyberpunk 2077 still manages to be an enjoyable game. Is it genre-defining? No. Is it a bug-free and seamless experience that can run smoothly on a wide spectrum of hardware? Also, no. Is it a fun action RPG that's worth playing for the rich characters and enjoyable, albeit shorter than expected main story? Yes, most definitely. I look forward to seeing what CD Projekt does with this game in the rest of 2021 and beyond. While it likely won't be anything earth-shattering, as patch 1.3 has proved, I do think this game and its developers deserve to see it more fully realized. I also hope that CD Projekt and other developers will take this as a precautionary tale, that Hello Games wasn't meant to be a role model with No Man's Sky, that consumers will no longer accept AAA games released in unfinished or broken states. So what's to come for this game and the studio that developed it? While I wish them all the best, they've got a long way to go to earn hearts and minds back. Something that, in an unforgiving online landscape, is much easier said than done. So here's hoping to you, CD Projekt. Best of luck. I hope to do a lot more of this type of content, covering the latest news and biggest stories in gaming, particularly as it relates to my own personal interests, which are single-player role-playing games and PC gaming and hardware as a whole. So if you like that type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell, do the things, and leave a comment down below with your take on the direction that CD Projekt is taking Cyberpunk, and maybe even some of their future releases, such as the upcoming Witcher game on the horizon.